This is I Go Travel with Don Barnett. We're going to look at one of the biggest seaport harbors in the United States. Not the biggest is New York, but this one in Seattle here is one of the bigger ones. And the second thing we'll do in this travel log is we will test you out on a little quiz. So get ready. Here we go. The harbor of any seaport city often is the basis for the economic foundation of the whole area. Seattle's harbor is no exception, so let's take a look at it. The other thing we'll do in this travelogue is we'll find out who are the biggest corporations in the world. I made another Seattle video on two of its big corporations, Starbucks and Microsoft. How do they rank in the world size? I'll give you a few chances to come up with the 10 biggest corporation names in the world. As we look at Seattle's harbor, keep in mind the question of the 10 largest corporations in the world. I'll give you a few chances to collect your thoughts. Do number 1 now. What can you come up with? Then a little later in the travelogue, in step 2, I'll give you a hint, a few areas that some of the big corporations might operate in. In the third step, I'll give you the top 10 names, but in alphabetical order only. You then give them some thought and rearrange them in the top 10 in order from largest to smallest. Finally, in step 4, I'll show you the top 10 in order by size. Try it. It will be fun. Test yourself. So it's your turn. Do step 1 now. What are the names of the world's largest corporations? Take a cruise of a seaport of any city and learn about the heartbeat of that city. They are usually very enjoyable and informative. This is the Victoria Clipper that runs daily between downtown terminals in Vancouver and Seattle. A ticket can also get you overnight packages and visits to places like Butchart Gardens, museums, and a British-styled afternoon tea in Victoria. This U.S. Coast Guard ship was also in the harbor. An 1846 treaty between Britain and the U.S. established the basic rights and areas of jurisdiction of the historic Salish Sea, which are the waters of the general Pacific Coast area here. It is a continuous body of water that includes the Straits of Juan de Fuca and Georgia, as well as Puget Sound. The same waters run northward through Canada's Inland Passage that continues to the coast of Alaska. The law of the sea guarantees the right of passage of American ships off the Pacific coast of Canada. American sea laws extend to waters eastward into the states of land-bound Idaho and Montana. The primary duty of any Coast Guard is to defend national boundaries and to protect the marine environment. This involves overseeing safe and lawful sea commerce and business, as well as participating in rescue missions. American Coast Guard ships ply the waters south of the border, and their counterparts in Canada patrol waters north of the border. There seems to be barking seals in every seaport, and Seattle is no exception. They seem to bark to warn off another seal who is trying to get onto the crowded platform, trying to find a space alongside the many other seals lying there who are snoozing and soaking up the warm sun. Some have been branded for research purposes. This seagull looks like it is approaching maturity because it's half and half, Gray gulls are young ones, and white gulls are the mature ones. Let's take a minute out and jump back to that question of the 10 largest corporations in the world. Here are some areas that some might operate in. Do you think they come from, let's start at the bottom, in the whole area of pharmaceuticals and medications. How about shipping, farm fertilizer corporations, global shopping? How about entertainment companies, construction companies, automotive, car companies? How about space and flight corporations or computer corps? How about areas of banking or media? How about food chains? And how about the whole petroleum industry? Okay, can you think of any corporations, the names that might operate in some of these areas? Here are some boats and loading cranes that we saw in the harbor. Activities of ships and the sea involve measuring things in terms of knots and nautical miles. Knots, K-N-O-T-S, refers to speed, and nautical miles refer to distance. You can calculate the math if you know that 1 nautical mile equals 1.852 kilometers. That means a ship would take 1 hour to go 1.852 kilometers. That also calculates to a fast-moving boat going 50 kilometers per hour would be traveling at about 27 knots. Okay, so if you don't like metric, you like old school. Fine, let's do it that way. 1 nautical mile equals 1.15 miles, 1.15. That means that a boat traveling at the unbelievably slow speed of 1 knot would be going only 1.15 miles per hour. But a boat traveling, say, at 20 miles per hour would be going at about 17 knots. Also, a boat at 30 knots would be going at 26 miles per hour. Again, go back to the basic formula, which is that 1 nautical mile equals either 1.852 kilometers or 1.15 miles. Seems to me it gets just a little complicated, and a sailor also needs to know how to read tide tables on top of it all. You know, I'm going to stay to driving my car or riding my bike on land. Getting back to those 10 biggest corporations in the world, here they are. In alphabetical order only, starting at the bottom, as you can see, in alphabetical order again, Amazon, Apple, Coca-Cola, Facebook, Google, McDonald's, another M, Microsoft, S for Samsung, Toyota, and Walt Disney. Okay, now rearrange these in order of size. Use the pause button on the video if you can, and let's see what you come up with, and I'll give you the order by size at the end of the travelogue. In the meantime, let's go back and take another quick look as we're doing with the Seaport of Seattle. Seattle is a major U.S. container shipping terminal. It takes about 5 minutes to line up and load a container onto a ship or onto a waiting truck. Crane operators often are timed, so it can be a bit of a pressure job. All containers have 20-digit ID numbers that are automatically scanned by an optical reader. Some ports have even introduced robot-driven crane operators. seaport shipping has become a big, big business. Okay, let's wrap up with that question on the 10 largest corporations in the world. You'll see that further down the trail and in the lead is ranked number 1. And we'll just see where they're at from there. Okay, as you can see, leading the race further down the trail at the top, biggest corporation in the world is Amazon, and then followed by Apple, Coca-Cola, Facebook, Google, McDonald's, then Microsoft, Samsung, Toyota, and Walt Disney make up the top 10 in the world. How did you do? Did you notice that 5 or 6, over half of the top 10 are computer-related corporations? I guess that's not really too surprising, given the world that we live in. So there you have it, with Amazon and Apple at the top, and Seattle's Microsoft ranked at lucky number 7. Okay, so that's it for the quiz and the harbor in Seattle. Hit the subscribe button because we're going to other places as well. All right, we'll see you there.